Hey guys, it's Paige Pierce. Welcome back. This is the final round of the 2020 Memorial Championship. And I remember waking up this morning thinking, I have a goal in mind and I don't want to fall short of it. So I kept putting so much pressure on myself during these morning hours. One time before at the Beaver State Fling one year, I shot 3,000 rated rounds, and then the fourth round I shot 997. So going into this round, shooting 3,000 rated rounds already, this morning my goal was make sure you shoot 1,000 rated round. And that pressure was just building because I knew that every shot was going to matter. I didn't want to fall just 3 points short again. So I was really focused and ready to go. And I went over to the Disc Golf Strong area to warm up after I threw my practice shots. I was trying to get my body ready. And I remember being on my hands and knees doing the X lift. And the last thing I remember was Seth saying, okay, 2 left on each side. And then next thing I knew, somebody started screaming, duck, duck. And Seth, I thought it was a joke. I had no idea what was happening. I was nowhere near any baskets, so it wasn't like a disc was coming in. And next thing I knew, Seth was on top of me, guarding my body like this. And check out these photos that somebody sent me of what happened next. What happened was a big dust storm that came right over the Disc Golf Strong area that wiped out the tents that were above us. They were landing on top of us. You can actually even see Henna and Evelina in the corner ducking as they were practice putting. And this was just such a crazy morning. My heart was racing. And this was only about 25 minutes before I teed off. So trying to calm myself down from that and from all those pressures that I was putting on myself was very interesting. And here's how round 4 went down.
All right, so it all comes down to this round 4, the final round of the Disc Golf Pro Tour's first event of the year, the 2020 Memorial Championships. We're back at Vista. Yesterday I shot a 1057 rated round, and that makes 3,000 rated rounds. So I'm looking to add my fourth one and shoot a full tournament over 1,000 rated. This would be the only time ever that I've done it, so I'm really setting my sights on that today in this final round. Hole 1, we got 284 feet. The slope is from right to left, and there is a triple mando off the tee, so you want to make sure you make that mando first and foremost, but when it's flying forward, you want to make sure it's on a flat angle, otherwise it will filter down that hill and land a little bit more left than you want. So yesterday in this on this hole, I accidentally let it go a little bit late, so I'm looking to get a cleaner release and throw this buzz a lot more flat. Oh, I almost hit that bird there, it looks like, and I got myself well inside the circle this time, looking at about a 15-footer. And really just took that one for granted. I felt focused, but it just came out a little lazy and missed left of the pole. So that's an unfortunate error to start, but looking to turn it back around on hole 2. This one's 369, par 3. Again, right to left slope down by the basket. So same thing here. You want it to land pretty flat. Or if you're going for that hyzer play, just make sure you land wide of the basket and know that it is going to skip in. And on this tee pad, I actually heard people snickering about under their breaths, of course, but I did hear, oh my God, I can't believe she missed that putt. And so on this one, I'm really in my head and just, I knew that I let that one go a little too inside and I'm going to find a big skip here. Honestly, it was hard to find my rhythm. I just had so many thoughts in my head and just this pressure that I put on myself to shoot 1,000 rated rounds. So it really wasn't that bad of a throw, but every little thing was getting to me at this moment, and this par feels like the end of the world to me. So I'm happy to hit this putt for par, because the bogey would have seemed even worse, but I remember feeling a lot of emotion at this point. So on hole 3 here, 360 feet, I'm trying to calm myself down. There's still so many holes left, and just there's no need to get all in your head. It's gonna be smooth if you can just take some breaths. So that's what I'm telling myself now as I'm looking at this hole. Just telling myself, get close. You don't want a long putt at this elevated basket. And I have my Zeus in my hand here looking at the wide hyzer, but I actually switched to the Raptor. Again, just so many thoughts. I didn't even practice with the Raptor. Just poor decision making. And, that's a shot that I'm definitely still thinking about here a week later. Why choose that one? Anyway, I get the disc up by the basket and settle for another par. And we'll be looking to change things up going into hole 4. So this one's 381 feet. This is one of the harder ones of the beginning holes. You have to aim wide of this big bushy tree you're seeing here, and you want it to be traveling forward still, because a lot of players underestimate the length of this hole and end up hitting the branches of that evergreen. So I'm trying to make sure I keep it nice and wide. I want to give a shout out to GKPro. You can see the camera work going on in the background. These guys are killing it, shooting the ladies all year long. So I keep this Zeus nice and wide and flat, and actually find myself even closer than in round 3, almost hitting the pole, and a good confidence boost after those first few holes of overthinking. So now we're in hole 5, and it's 340 feet. This one, like I said yesterday, I'm kind of in between a buzz and a stalker. I'm trying to decide if I want to throw the buzz really hard or kind of cut back on the stalker. This elevated pin makes you want to get as close as possible. You can see I have both discs in my hand at this moment. I still haven't decided. I finally choose the buzz and tell myself, just throw it flat. Get yourself there. And I did today. I got it flat and I got the power I needed on it. It was a little bit low though, so I didn't quite get inside the circle, and I decided to lay this one up because today has been the windiest day so far of the tournament. So I told myself, no need to 3-putt, lay it up, and let's move on to hole 6. This one's 783 feet. There's multiple lines on this one. This is a fun one for creativity. I like going down the right side and throwing a flat overstable disc, keeping it nice and flat and letting it finish overstable. This way you don't jeopardize going OB. If you throw something too straight, it's going to find that right side OB. And if you go on the left gap, you have a chance of going left side OB. So I find this is the safest play that you can also throw the most aggressive shot, if that makes sense. So I find myself in a lot better position in round 4, and I think that this one's reachable. I'm trying to throw it as far as I can still though, because it's a wide, high hyzer, and the higher the disc's going, the more speed that's coming off of it. I remember when this one landed thinking, man, sit. It's hard to see the OB line way up there, but I knew it was slow rolling and I just wanted to make sure I stayed safe, and luckily I was by a couple feet, but kind of out of position still, so I laid that one up and we'll end up taking a par here. After the long walk over to hole 7, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see this OB sidewalk on the left that continues on to a street, and on the right you're going to see a sidewalk as well. This line of trees on the left really blocks your second shot if you land an ear drive in them, so you want to make sure to keep it as straight as possible so you have an easier shot at the basket. On this one, I'm going with my Zeus, and like I said, it's pretty windy, so I can't throw my go-to Zeus. This one's my click more stable one. I don't want it to flip over. This one is riding to the right, but I know it's going to get that hyzer back. It's a nice beefy one. And I get a little roll in, and honestly, being closer to the sidewalk, is better because I'm not having to throw a hyzer. I'm throwing dead straight at it. This is with my buzz. A little bit wide here, but it's getting a nice hyzer in, coming in right by the cameraman. And I'm going to be on the back side of the green looking at a circle's edge putt. I felt like that was a pretty good bid. I actually contemplated laying that one up for a moment because of the wind, but the basket looked pretty big and I was excited that I was ready to run a putt, especially after the start that I felt like I was having. It was nice to put up a good bid and I felt like it was pretty respectable. Hole 8, this is the first water carry of the round, 360 feet. This one plays more like 320, I would say, but you want to make sure that you throw it nice and firm. If you kind of put it any bit of nose up or any hyzer angle, you do have a tendency to kind of leak into the water. So I'm grabbing my Z Buzz here and I'm just trying to throw it nice and hard and flat. I get a little bit of push to the right, but it's got a nice straight flight and I find myself about 15 feet right of the basket. With that birdie, I move up to 29 under par, 12 shots ahead of Jennifer Allen, who is in second place at the moment. And we are on hole 9, which is 324 feet. Like I said, I think this is probably my favorite hole on the course. It's just such a pretty one. And it's a gettable par 3. Anyone can birdie it, but it does have an element of danger to it with that OB water so close to the basket. If you want to give yourself a good putt, you're kind of challenging skipping. Yesterday I went with a buzz here. Today I'm going with a stalker and trusting it. Again, the wind is a little bit heavier than it was yesterday, so I don't want my buzz to flip over. And I get a nice flight out of this new ESP stalker. I'm really loving this one, and I find it to be kind of just like a longer buzz, so you don't have to put as much power into it. I felt really good about this putt. Almost a little bit high, but it felt right in the center of the pole and a nice committed release there.
Now interrupting this broadcast to bring you a special message. I want to give a very special thank you to my Patreons who are the reason that this video even exists. So if you like these and want to consider becoming a Patreon, check out patreon.com/ppierce29190.
So now back 9, hole 10, 651 feet, par 4. This one has a Mando just there on the left that you have to stay right of, and that OB on the right is very close. So this is a very narrow tee shot, and to get the birdie 3, you really want to get probably at least 350 feet up there. So you really do have to throw a very well executed tee shot that's nice and low. And this side hill, it goes down from right to left. So if you kind of turn it a little bit too much and don't give it enough time in the air, it's going to hit that side hill and roll to the left, and it makes it quite a bit more difficult to get up and down from there. I'm going with my Zeus here. Hyzer flip to flat. It's riding right, and it has just enough height to get over that hill and find some flat ground for a run up here. This is my Banger GT, looking for a full power shot here, a little bit nose up so I can use the glide. And this thing is so fun to watch. I just love watching it fly. It just is like an elevator dropping down. That shot was about 320 feet to the basket, and as you can see, I'm just at pin high. And that one, I almost lost my balance. I think you could tell there. I was really trying to make sure to power it into the chains, and I pushed off really well off of my back foot, but almost too much. Glad I caught myself there. Hole 11, 543 feet. This one is a par 4 that adds a element of mental game for sure. I think for the women, it's not reachable at 543 feet. So I like to break this hole down into two sections. I'm looking at a 300-foot shot and then a 240-foot shot. And I think that simplifies the hole and takes all the OB elements out of play. So I'm going with my Tour Series Buzz here for that 300-foot shot. I'm trying to land it right at that big tree, just on the right side of it. And I actually get past it, so I should have even less than 240 feet. This is probably about 220 feet, so I'm going a little bit down tempo with the Banger GT. And that was perfect distance control. And we'll tap in a birdie here to move to 32 under par. Hole 12, another water carry. This one's 282 feet. It's a par 3. This one's pretty fun hole. I really like this one a lot. With that last minute uphill, it makes it play more like 315 or so. And you really have to make sure that you get it nose up so that it carries over that, but not nose up on a hyzer, because it will filter to the left where that culvert is. So this is my Banger GT, and this is a nice left to right wind. I kind of misjudge it and don't put enough hyzer on it, and kind of get a little bit of a turn in that flight and find myself circle's edge right of the basket. I actually liked that bid quite a bit. I thought it was in for a moment, but it just kind of didn't stay up just quite long enough, so I missed just an inch low, and we'll settle for a par there. Hole 13 is 405 feet, par 3. This one, I got my first birdie ever on yesterday in round 3. I'm hoping to repeat that same line. But when you have those expectations, I think sometimes they are more harmful than good. Instead of just thinking about what shot you need to throw and thinking about, oh, I need to redo that thing I did yesterday, I start to have problems with that. And I think, it just puts this unnecessary pressure in your mind. With that being said, though, I'm still going to try. But I miss wide, I miss high, and I miss on the speed. So just an all-around miss there, misfire, and I find myself OB looking at this really weird footing to try to get somewhere up there to just only card a single overstroke here. And I'm happily taking a bogey after that, seeing where my drop was. I think that a double bogey could have came easily, so I was really happy with that upshot there. Hole 14, par 4, 655 feet. This one's pretty fun. It has a couple different options. They put a new mandatory in this year, hoping to make you go straight, but a lot of players found a new way to attack it, taking a step left of the tee, still in the designated tee area, but off of the concrete pad. There is a way that you can still play the hole like it was last year on a hyzer. And then from there, it's about, I would say, a 250-foot shot dead straight. There is OB left the entire way down the fairway. The OB on the right doesn't quite come into play, though. This is my Zeus on the wide hyzer, looking for a skip or two here. And that is exactly where I want to be, right in the middle of the fairway, looking at a banger approach here. A little bit fast. I'm throwing those things a little bit farther than I give them credit for every time. So that's something I'm going to be working on before Waco. But luckily my putt is feeling super good. I feel very confident with the fierces. So I convert for birdie on that 28-footer. And we'll be heading into hole 15, which is a par 4, 450 feet. I talked yesterday about that I think this one's kind of a tweener. I said that I don't think we can really get a good putt on this one, You throw it as hard as you can, but the severe dogleg angle of it makes it to where this 450-foot hole plays more like 490. So even if we're throwing a shot that could travel 450, it's hard to make it get that L turn. So yesterday I went high and wide. Today I'm going to try to go lower and a little bit more inside and see if this is going to find me closer to the basket. This is my Zeus. You can see I'm calling for a skip. I'm throwing it really fast, knowing it's going to hit the ground with a lot of action still. And this is actually as good as I think I could have thrown it. And I'm just outside circle 2. Decent bid there, but not really a makeable putt from that distance. So I will just tap in for a birdie here and move on to hole 16. This one's 390 feet. It's a par 3. And this is a fun one. It's got, again, similar to the first part of the round where we have that right to left downslope. This is similar in that aspect, but this one is uphill and this one's on an elevated basket. So we got a couple new elements, and the biggest danger is hyzering out a little bit too much, because if you do that, it will filter down that hill and find OB. And honestly, standing on this tee pad, I was thinking about my shot yesterday and duplicating it. So again, a mental error, and I hit the first tree. And this is what I'm left with to try to get up and down to save par. That was my buzz, and that was about a 340-foot shot. I felt really good about that shot, and now I'm looking at about a 15-footer uphill at this basket. Oh, and I'm so thankful that one sat down. I thought that was a good putt. I just misjudged how high the basket was. So, although this is a bogey putt and ends up being a bogey, I'm not super disappointed. I'm mad that I made that mental error off the tee, but my second shot was good and I thought my putt was good. So I'm going to hold my head high, moving into hole 17. This one's 243 feet. It's a par 3. And it's one of the easier birdies to get as long as you don't go deep, because you find that culvert pretty easily. So the goal here is to tone down the speed, throw a slow shot, and have a putt looking at the road. You can see me calling for it to get down. I go a little bit past the basket, but it's not too far. It is looking downhill though, and that gallery seems to be kind of scary in my mind right now. Also the wind, I know there's no flags for reference, but really this was a windy round, and I did hit full chains, so it didn't go very far, but I was a little bit disappointed in missing that bid right there. Hole 18, 381 feet, par 3, final hole of the entire tournament, and we have a triple mando about 80 feet short of the basket. I, in practice, thought, is there any situation where I will go for this triple mando? And I told myself, most likely no. The only chance is if I'm down by 2 and I need a miracle. I have a pretty comfortable lead here, so I'm just going with the Banger GT. I'm just trying to put it just in front of the mando and just have a stress-free par and hope, if I get up and down, that this is going to be enough for my 4th consecutive 1,000 rated round. I'm actually a little bit more left than I thought I was, so I had to grab a zone and throw a little skip shot. And this is what's left for a par. Huge shout out to Zoe and Dyke, one of my besties, for caddying. It's cool to have you on the bag for this round. And I did it. I won my first Pro Tour of the year, my first big event back with this craft, and get 4,000 rated rounds.
All right, so that concludes the 2020 Memorial Championship. I'm so excited to have the trophy right here in my home. And this is something that's so important to me because 10 years ago at this tournament, I won my first national tour. And now here I am 10 years later, winning my first tournament back with Discraft. And I just couldn't be more excited. And to do so, shooting 4,000 rated rounds and shooting one of the best rated rounds of all time by a woman, this is something that I will keep in my memories and on my trophy shelf forever. And I want to take a moment and thank GKPro once again for letting me have this coverage forever. This is something I can look back on, and you guys too. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this new project, and looking forward to the next weekend, which is the Waco Annual Charity Open. This is a tournament that means a lot to me as well. I've been playing this one since I was probably 10 years old, growing up just an hour and a half from those courses. I've been playing so long on these courses, and it's awesome to see a huge tournament there. So again, if you guys like this, let me know below, and please subscribe so you guys can see what's going on at the Waco tournament. I think I'm gonna change up the format a tiny bit. I think after each round, I'm gonna video myself and with my immediate reactions after the round. I think that would be beneficial, and I think that hopefully you guys would like that too. So let me know what you think, and if I can do anything differently going into Waco, leave those comments below. And again, hit the bell so you're alerted when the Waco rounds go live.